Okay, we are live. Oh, let me change this for a second. I think that's straighter, right? Okay. Hello, hello, good evening, everyone. I am so glad that you joined me for tonight's Thursday restorative class. Tonight, we are diving into the art of rest. I titled it The Art of Rest, but every single Thursday restorative class is indeed the art of rest. And it is so funny because as I was preparing this class to think about, like, hey, what are we going to kind of set our intention around? What kind of poses are we going to do? This whole idea of rest, of course, the window of tolerance, which I'm going to tell you about in a bit, and settling, which all kind of comes to settling of the mind thoughts came up. And sure enough, I was granted, we'll call it an opportunity, shall we, to practice settling the mind stuff. I had some tech issues, in short, and I couldn't get the mic to work. So hopefully it works now. It looks like it is. And if it isn't quite working, you just let me know. All right. So tonight we are going to do a 60-minute restorative yoga class. It's going to be the art of rest. And what inspired me for tonight is actually, I just learned about this thing called the window of tolerance. It's a psychological, like a psychology concept. And the window of tolerance basically depicts how well we are able to adjust to the feelings, thoughts, and emotions, or how well we're able to sit with, in short, the feelings, thoughts, and emotions that we experience in everyday life. So if you imagine kind of like a frame going across, there's this space called the window of tolerance. And if you're out of the space at the very top, it's hyperarousal. And if you're at the space at the very bottom, it's called hypoarousal. And when you learn about what hyperarousal means, it means that maybe there's a sense of urgency, maybe you're flustered, maybe there's this kind of overstimulation or this incessant need to be productive. That's when we're hyperaroused. There's too much stimulation going on. And when we're hypoaroused, it's like, we're so chill, and it seemingly seems like as if nothing ever bothers us. Or maybe if we dip really low in hypoarousal, it might even lead to like sadness and depression. So when we're working with our thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideally we would be right in that window of tolerance. And when I learned about this concept, because I was doing kind of my own work, when I learned about this concept, what it really reminded me of was Yoga Sutra 1.2. Um, Yoga Chitti Vritta, no, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So, Yoga Sutra 1.2, the Yoga Sutra is being the handbook of yoga, like basically yoga handbook of like what this whole thing is all about. Yoga Sutra 1.2 says part of yoga is about regulating the mind stuffs, the vrittis being those tornadoes of thoughts. And I just thought that was such a wonderful union, or a wonderful overlap in integration of the information from both the yoga world and both the psychological world. That is so, so cool, because it really reinforces that what you're doing for yourself tonight, being on the mat and practicing this art of rest, is exactly what you need so that you can stay in this space, whether you want to think of it as the window of tolerance or this window of peace and clarity. Okay, without further ado, make sure you've got your blocks, of course, your blanket, of course, and your pillows. Yes, one or two. If you have an eye mask, absolutely use that eye mask, and any other support you have, as much support as you can or as you'd like tonight. Let's start off as you're ready, cross-legged as per usual in Sukhasana, and let's ground. If your legs are sore or injured, go ahead, stretch them out. If that low back is sore or injured, go ahead, prop yourself up. And you absolutely always have the option to be lying down for this if anything else is feeling quite uncomfortable. Okay. On your inhale, you inhale. And exhale. Allow your eyes to drift closed. And this is perfect. Give yourself permission to arrive. Let go of anticipation. Oftentimes, we're in this state of alertness of what's next. I need to be ready for what's next. Trust that you will be ready when what's next comes along. But for now, this is it. Take a sigh of relief. You have arrived. There's really not more expected of you other than for you to just be and to just breathe exactly as you are, at least for the next 60 minutes. This is all that's required. And as you sink into your body, feel yourself sinking back into your body, beginning to notice certain sensations, maybe in the insides of your palms or the bottoms of your feet, that you may not have taken the acute awareness to notice throughout the day. Notice the chitta and the vritti, the mind stuffs, the monkey mind. And without any judgment, perhaps just almost labeling what's coming through. Perhaps there's a sense of unease or urgency. Perhaps there's a sense of calm. Of course, we can be feeling well right now. Maybe there's a sense of calm instead. Although taking the ride, just watching these kind of tornadoes of thoughts, of emotions and feelings as they pass through. And they all pass through. They always pass through. And now that you have a good idea of your internal state of what that monkey mind is doing, pay attention to your breath, and nothing needs to shift just yet. Just notice how you're breathing. Where is the breath coming from? And where is the breath going to? Oftentimes, the breath matches the inner world. So, fragmented breathing means that there's usually kind of a fragmented, fragmented inner awareness or fragmented mental state. Maybe a little tumultuous in there. And what's so interesting is that what keeps us in hyperarousal or hypoarousal, and um, the whole name of the game is to be in the window of tolerance as much as you can, but we mostly ebb and flow out of it. Maybe we live one place more than the other, and the aim is to hopefully end up living in that window of tolerance more. But the reason why we're either like super, we might even call that person high strung in hyperarousal, or hypoarousal, like depressed or sad or just kind of sluggish and lethargic. The reason why we operate through these windows is because they were protective and they were safe for us at one point or another. These are stuck patterns. Stuck patterns. That's in yoga called samskaras, these imprints that were left with us. And these patterns will continue to play out until we bring awareness that we have one in the first place. These patterns will continue to play out until we make a mental effort to change our regular, our normal. What's so wonderful is that, we learn the what, like, okay, yeah, cool concept, but like, what do you even do with it? Oh, this is what you do with it. This practice, including the breath work we're about to dive into. This breath, body, mind connection, one plays into the other, and all of them count into your well being. Okay. On your next breath, take a deep inhale. Inhale, deep inhale. And exhale, side out. Nice, releasing the tension. One more inhale, long, deep inhale. Fill up your heart, fill up your lungs. And exhale, side out. All that does not serve you. Thoughts, interactions, experiences. One more time, long, deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, side out through your mouth. And we'll take it one step further and break the pattern of what you're used to. Long, deep inhale through your nose. Take a little sip in. And when you feel like as if you have no more air, no more space to take in more air, take in a little sip in. Hang out here for an extra moment and exhale through your mouth. Side out and just notice the release, the tension in the tension in the body. One more time, two more times. Long, deep inhale through your nose. When you feel like as if you have no more space for air, take in a little bit more. A little bit more yet. Hang out at the top and don't hold back. Exhale. Let it all go. One last one, long, deep inhale through your nose. Allow the air to fill up your heart, fill up your lungs. It feels like you have no more space, but you do. So take an extra sip in. One more sip of air. Hang out at the top. And exhale. Let it all go. Resume normal breathing. Just notice what you notice. Perhaps your shoulders melt further away from your ears, and perhaps you feel a sense of softening throughout the whole body. More ease, longer, deeper breath. Now place one hand on your heart. Just to notice that heart space. As if you can breathe from your heart. Breathe your next breath from your heart. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, letting go. Nice inhale, expansion. Exhale, letting go with ease. Perhaps everything gets so quiet and so acutely aware within you that you can almost feel your heart beating. And continue these long, deep breaths with the noticing of the heart space, of maybe even your heartbeat for 10 more breaths. And there's absolutely no rush at all. Full breaths, deep breaths. Noticing of your heart space through the breath signals to the rest of your body, to the rest of your mind, that it's okay now, that everything can slow down and begin to sink into a place of rest. And it's okay now. You don't have to be any more that you are. You don't have to do any more that you already are. How you are, who you are, what you're doing right now is already perfect. And with this deep sense of clarity, this deep sense of slowing down, let's begin our practice. Gently flutter your eyes open. Inhale, arms up toward the sky. Reach up, stretch up. Maybe swing from side to side if that feels good. And eventually allow your hands to come down towards your knees. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Inhale, sit tall, Dandasana, hands down by your sides. Allow your hands to remove the fleshy parts of your sit bones away from you. Toes point up toward the sky and arms up toward the sky. Exhale, fold forward, but let it be a gentle forward fold, allowing your hands to land wherever they want to land. Your back can round, it's okay. Just getting a sense of opening through your back leg line. Inhale, rise all the way back up. And go ahead, scooch all the way down onto your mat, lying all the way down on your back. Let's start with a reclined butterfly. The soles of your feet come together, your arms wide out like goalposts, cactus arms or surrender arms. If it feels actually too much for your hips here, go ahead, take a block or a book and place it underneath each knee for some support. And the reason why you want your arms at surrender arms or cactus arms is so that you can get a soft opening through the chest, which will in turn alleviate the shoulders. Just settle in. Noticing the sensations around your body to help anchor you. Perhaps the sensation through your inner leg line as your knees drift to either side of your mat. Sensation of your belly rising and falling with each breath. The gentle expansion of your chest. Your own heart beating. And how satisfying it feels to take in long, full, deep inhales, long, full, deep exhales. Allow your inner leg line to soften a little bit more. Shoulders, your neck to soften. Slow, slow, and see if you can allow your arms to sink into the ground just a little more. On your next breath, slowly, moving slower than you want, use your hands to help draw your knees together. Nice. Cross your right leg over your left, reclined pigeon. Your right toes point up toward the sky. This might be enough for you. Or if you want more, need more, go ahead. You can absolutely pick up that left leg for a reclined pigeon. If you want somewhere in between, this is where your book or your block is going to come in handy because you can place that block just underneath that left leg and you get somewhere in between. Even though those right toes are pointed up toward the sky, they're not straining too much. There's still a sense of ease within it. And with that same sense of ease, draw that right knee out toward the top of your mat. Gently allow that left foot to come all the way back down. Uncross your legs and switch sides. Left leg crosses over the right, and your choice, whichever variation feels best to you. Whether you have that right foot down on a block or picked all the way up. Wherever you are, just make sure that it feels good. Notice if any part of you is straining that really doesn't need to be. Just simply ask it to soften. Slowly, slower than you want. Go ahead, unwind, and allow that right foot to come back down toward the ground. Uncross the left leg from the right. Now, take your books or your blocks. If you have neither of those, a pillow is good too. We'll come into supported bridge. So keep your feet close enough to you so that you can graze the backs of them with your fingertips. Your feet about hip distance apart. And we're going to keep the block on the lowest setting today. So just nothing too strenuous tonight. So whenever you're ready, press your feet into the ground, lift your hips up toward the sky just enough so you can place the block underneath your sacrum. And then gently allow yourself to lower all the way back down onto the block. Allow yourself to be fully supported, and your arms can be anywhere you'd like, wide out beside you, above your head, or on your belly, whichever feels the best to you. Your heart is above your head as it is right now, in kind of an inversion, sending the signals to your body for rest and relaxation. If your mind drifts, come back to that breathing that we always do. Just simply counting your breath, inhaling for 1, exhale for 2, inhale 3, exhale 4, all the way up to 10. If it feels really good for you in Little Bridge, stay here. Or if you're inclined to, let's do legs up the wall without a wall. Draw your knees into your chest. Allow your legs to come straight up toward the sky, pointing the soles of your feet up toward the ceiling. Continue to allow that low back, that sacrum to be supported. Of course, if you're by a wall, go ahead and place your legs up a wall. And notice the sensations here, allowing the sensations of your body to anchor you here. Starting from the soles of your feet, perhaps you feel a temperature shift, warm or cold. Perhaps there's sensation through the backs of your ankles, your calves, upper leg. And once again, noticing the beating of your own heart. Gently bring a bend into your knees, the soles of your feet back down on the ground. Lift your hips up ever so slightly, just enough so that you can remove the block from underneath you. Coming all the way back, flat onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Find stillness. Allow the soles of your feet to come back down onto the ground. Shift your hips over toward the right and twist, allowing your knees to fall gently toward the left. Left hand over your right leg to anchor, right hand right out wide beside you, and your gaze past that right arm. Again, notice if there's any part of you that's straining unnecessarily, that's working when it doesn't need to be, and just simply allow it to soften. Inhale, knees come back to center. Move slower than you want. Nice. Shift your hips over toward the left. Allow your knees fall over toward the right. This time, right hand over your left leg to anchor. Left hand right wide out beside you, and your gaze past that left arm. Soften any part of your body that's straining or working when it doesn't really need to be. Nice, and then slowly, slower than you want, gently draw your knees back to center. Okay, set yourself up for the final posture of the day, Shavasana. This is where you really want to pull out all of the stops. Taking both your pillows, if you have both, one underneath your head, because we're going to be in Shavasana for quite a while. You want to have some support there. The ground's going to feel like it's going to feel really, really hard after a few minutes. And then if you have your second pillow, place it underneath your legs for a little support for that low back. If you have your blanket or your eye mask, go ahead, use your blanket and your eye mask. And in the most comfortable, supported way possible, find yourself in Shavasana. Perfect. Making any final adjustments that you need to. And let this be a princess and the pea situation, in that if there's anything, even a little wrinkle that you feel underneath your shirt or underneath your back or anything like that, go ahead and adjust it, making sure that you're absolutely, completely relaxed and comfortable. And then eventually, you find yourself with your arms out beside you, palms facing the sky, your legs straight out in front of you, feet flopped out to either which way, feeling completely comfortable. Let's take two releasing breaths here. A long, deep inhale through your nose. And don't hold back. Exhale through your mouth. Sink in, sink down. Nice. One more long, deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, side out through your mouth. Nice. Allow your eyes to drift to the back of your head down into your pillow or into the mat. And just this complete softening through the space between your brows, your jaws, your entire face. From the crown of your head all the way down to through your neck and your shoulders. Almost as if there's like this wave of softening from the crown of your head down through your shoulders. Let it travel through your arms, all 10 fingers, and even the insides of your palms. Notice it expanding, this wave of softening through your chest, your ribs, your belly, your entire back, your hips, tops of your legs, the backs of your legs, all the way down both legs to the tips of your toes, to all 10 toes, even the inner and outer edges of your feet. So as you feel this wave of softening travel from the crown of your head all the way down to your feet, notice almost like this rhythmic, maybe even undulating movement of softening. I'm going to guide you into a short yoga nidra in a moment here. Before you fall too deeply into the relaxation, let's come out with your sankalpa. The sankalpa being a heartfelt resolve. So, you know how I was talking about being in hyper or hypoarousal with that window of tolerance, or of the taming of the vrittis, of the chitta and the vrittis, of your mind thoughts and the samskaras, like these imprints, these patterns that are stuck within us. Well, the sankalpa through yoga nidra is one way that we can begin to break free from these patterns so that we don't sit with the thoughts that do not serve us, so that we don't sit here thinking that we're not good enough or that we're not going to make it or that we can't sing, whatever it is that your imprint is. So perhaps we use the imprint as a guide. What's one imprint, one story that plays over and over in your life and in your thoughts that clearly does not serve? And then just simply flip it around for your sankalpa, for your heartfelt resolve. So if you perpetually feel like as if you're falling short, perhaps the sankalpa is not "I'm not falling short." You want it in the positive. So perhaps it is "I am confident. I am enough. I am worth it. I am well. I am vibrant. I have so much energy. Okay. Once you've chosen your Sankalpa, continue with your rest, coming back to that kind of undulating, this wave of softening from the crown of your head all the way down to your toes. And the softening from your toes all the way back up to your head. Sink in, sink down. If there's any part of you that seems to be unnecessarily straining or working, allow it to soften. Notice these deep, full breaths that you're taking. Inhale, full inhale, filling up your heart, filling up your lungs. Exhale, letting go. Inhale, deep inhale, filling up your heart, filling up your lungs. Exhale, deep exhale. As you sink into this sense of resting, of this sense of relaxation, know that you can move your body, but you're choosing not to. That you will choose to stay still and repeat to yourself, I choose to remain still. And in this deep state of resting, of relaxation, know that the benefit of Yoga Nidra comes from staying restful, but awake and aware. And so repeat to yourself, I will remain awake and aware. Yoga Nidra has now begun. Begin to notice your breath. Without actually changing how you're breathing at all, just imagine in your mind's eye that on your next inhale, you inhale that whole breath from the tips of your toes all the way up to the crown of your head. And on your exhale, notice that breath traveling from the crown of your head all the way to the tips of your toes. Inhale, tips of your toes all the way up through to the crown of your head. And exhale from your head all the way down to your toes. You do not have to change your natural rhythm of breathing. Just simply follow your mind's eye as you notice inhale, tips of your toes to the crown of your head. Exhale, crown of your head to the tips of your toes. And begin counting from 54. Inhale, toes to head, 54. Exhale, head to toes, 54. Inhale, toes to head, 53. And exhale, head to toes, 53. Continue counting. Stop counting. It's okay if you didn't count all the way. It's okay if you lost track. Now, bring in your heartfelt resolve, that sankalpa that you chose before this practice, and repeat your sankalpa to yourself 3 times. Feel the gratitude of receiving this sankalpa spreading through your heart space. Feeling thankful that the sankalpa has already come into being. Now we'll set your energy points, releasing any blockages that may be stuck in any of these energy points. You're going to hear a point in the body and just simply bring your awareness there. Be as effortless as possible. Eyebrow, throat, be effortless. Right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, tip of the right thumb, right index finger, right middle finger, right ring finger, right little finger, right wrist, be effortless. Elbow, shoulder, throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, left wrist, elbow, be effortless. Left shoulder, throat, left chest, center of chest, right chest, center of chest. Keep your attention in your heart space. Allowing this space of inner awareness to expand. Imagine yourself diving deep, deep into your heart space. There you see a white lotus resting on a still lake. And on the lotus, a sense of safety. There's a soft white light that glows. And as you look into that soft white light, you notice that you've reached the center of your being, the place of inner knowing, the center of your heart. Allow yourself to rest in this soft white light. And draw your awareness back to your heart center. To close the practice, we're going to say the sankalpa again. Repeat your sankalpa 3 times. And feel into the gratitude of having received it. Allowing yourself to repeat your sankalpa with absolute certainty that it will be fulfilled. And come back to your breath. Slowly bring awareness back to this room and into your body. Allow your next breath to be deeper than the last. A little bit of movement in your fingers and in your toes, just enough so that you can draw your knees into your chest. Yoga Nidra has now completed. And stay exactly as you are, your knees and your chest, perfectly comfortable. As we come to the end of the practice, you've come to a point where you get to make a decision. You have the time to, and it feels good to. And go ahead, stretch your legs back out into Shavasana and stay here for as long as you can. Otherwise, you do have things that you need to do for the remainder of the evening, and move slower than you'd like. And go ahead and use your hands to help you up into a seated position. And wherever you have landed, I'm going to say a gentle goodbye, especially if you're resting. I want you to stay in a place of rest. Thank you so much for practicing with me tonight. I always leave calmer than I come in. So these classes are just as good for me, I think, as it is for you. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'm wishing you a very restful evening and rest of your weekend. I'll see you next week. Namaste.